Orthodox Prophecies, the fall of Erdogan and the beginning of the great events. Within Orthodox Christian eschatology, the fall of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, whether through political collapse or biological death, is often described as the final warning before the great events. In today's video, we explore the prophecies surrounding the fate of the Turkish leader, what his fall signifies, and why so many contemporary elders point to this moment as a turning point in history. St. Paisios spoke with striking clarity about the era of Erdogan. Once Erdogan leaves, buy food for 6 to 7 months. As long as he is in power, it is unlikely that anything major will happen with Turkey. He controls the situation. This was said for Greece. And with prophetic certainty he added, none of these will happen now, but soon. When the current generation of Turkish politicians ceases and a new one takes over, that is when Turkey's dismemberment will begin. Very soon, the prayers spoken beneath the surface of the earth will rise, and the candles that are lit below will be lit above. Elder Hesychios offered a similarly sobering warning. Erdogan will either move against you, or they will kill him in order to put someone else in his place who will do it. The moment he leaves, the winds of Aeolus will be unleashed upon you. Cyprus is the David who will bring down Turkey, which is the Goliath. Patience. A remarkable testimony from 2010 recounts Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's visit to Athens. During the press conference, a man in attendance, who had recently made a vow to the newly appeared Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene in Mytilene, became visibly disturbed while listening to Erdogan speak. He later confided to a friend standing beside him that he had experienced a shocking event the previous night, a dream involving Saint Raphael. I came as a refugee here to this island, persecuted by the Turks, and for faith and homeland they cut off my head. This island will soon be filled with refugees transients. The Turks will continue to cut off heads until the head of the one you will meet tomorrow in Athens falls. Then history will turn a page, and the Turks will become refugees. Elder Theodore Nilos of Agiofarago in 2011 foresaw a synchronized trigger. When the Jews hit Persia's nuclear program, then the great events will begin. At the same time or a little earlier, Erdogan will fall. Testimony of the appearance of Saint Paraskevi of Epiphatini in 2019. A dramatic vision was recorded that year. The veil is lifted, and it becomes apocalyptic. A war of the heavenly powers unfolds, like the horsemen of the apocalypse, on one side against a leader in the east who bears the turban of a sultan. A titanic apocalyptic battle breaks out. It is certain that the forces supported by the triune God will prevail. In 2020, another elder warned, "My children, before they go to The Hague, something serious will happen. What will ruin their agreements may be the death of Erdogan. He will die suddenly. Before that, though I do not know the time, the Sultan will betray Putin, his greatest ally. This will eventually lead Turkey, under NATO pressure, to close the straits to the Russians, trapping Russia in the Black Sea. Something will happen in the Baltic Sea, and then the Russian bear, enraged, will flatten everything." In 2021, the same elder added, "Erdogan will soon leave, he will fall, he will. But before that, he will first witness a great harm within his family. And afterward he will depart with deep wounds in his soul." On February 28, 2018, Metropolitan Neophytos gave a decisive clarification. "And let me say something and take it however you want. Nothing serious will happen as long as this Erdogan lives. Know this: the serious things will happen when Erdogan falls. This is what the modern saints who see tell us, because the poor thing will fall. When he falls, then great things will happen. Take this as a point. But even when great things happen, Cyprus will have great protection." On January 28, 2020, he expanded on the geopolitical landscape. Now a point which, the events, Erdogan will do very little. He is smart, even though he wears many different masks, and this will lead to his destruction, but he knows how to negotiate. In regard to us, he will trigger a small episode, as was the case with EMEA. EMEA Eilet's military crisis over sovereignty between Greece and Turkey in 1996. Erdogan will fall, and after him inexperienced people, pro-Westerners, Kemalists, a political ideology, will take power, and they will create big problems. But what will these people do? They will ruin relations with Russia. They will betray Russia and make Russia furious. Who saw the Russian and was not afraid of him? On November 15th, 2023, he added, "Well, and yet, the saints prophesy that the time will come when Russia will be so outraged by the then Turkish policy that will strike Turkey in all lengths and widths, both by sea and by land. Oh, one thing I forgot to say is that the Turks will close the straits to Russia. That will be the reason why Russia will be furious. And that when Erdogan falls, another generation of politicians will come out. These are of Saint Paisios, I'm talking about the last ones, which will not have the Ottoman policy of Sultan Tayyip Erdogan, but will have a pro-Western line. They will be clumsy, they say. They will not be skillful, like Erdogan. They will be clumsy. They are the ones who will make the attempt for the 6 miles that I told you earlier. It is they who will close the straits, not Erdogan." On March 10th, 2024, theologian Dionysius Makris shared a private discussion with a revered elder. In Washington, it seems, they have already prepared a plan for the immediate removal of Erdogan. The green light has been given, and God will allow it now, because the Turkish president has completed his mission. A visionary woman from Crete saw, "One of our sisters in Christ from Crete, who is following in the footsteps of the old woman, was privileged to see what I will briefly describe to you. I will try to convey to you as much detail as she told me. She saw Erdogan covered in blood. Everyone mourned his loss. His son will take his place, with the obligation to lead Turkey in the elections. In his short tenure, Erdogan's son proved to be completely incompetent, commonly called a potato, as he was called when it came to the governance of the country. Naturally, the Americans also put their hand in to make him appear unworthy of his father's succession. The Kemalists, with the help of the Americans, will win the elections." On July 20th, 2025, Elder Gabriel the Athonite shared a final warning. "A holy elder once shared with us that the great events commence when 3 things take place. First, when they level Gaza, this happened. When they hit Iran's nuclear program, this also happened. And when Erdogan falls, let us be ready. What God will grant, we do not know. Pray that God's blessing will be with you and with your families and all your loved ones, all your life, and throughout eternity." Across decades, multiple Orthodox elders, saints, and contemporary spiritual figures converge on a single point. Erdogan's fall marks the threshold of immense geopolitical and spiritual upheaval. Whether symbolic or literal, political or biological, his departure is consistently described as the moment when the great events begin.